We're going to do start like this. We're live. It's great. Okay. Welcome. We're having technical difficulties for anybody who's joining us. Hopefully, we won't have them, but if we do, be patient. And if not, Carolyn and I will just have a lovely time chatting. And let me back up to say I'm thrilled, happy, excited to be here with Carolyn Herfurth, who is an extraordinary person, wonderful woman, actually a Wonder Woman, a business coach, and my favorite description of her is sort of the connector of all connectors. So, welcome, Carolyn. Thank you for being so patient and joining us today. Would you introduce yourself and tell people a little bit more about what it is that you do?
Of course. And you know what? This kind of stuff happens. It's just the way it is. So technical difficulties or not, I am so happy to be having this conversation with you. So I am Carolyn Herfurth, and you're frozen right now. So hopefully everybody else can hear what's happening. Perfect. And I have played a hand in the launch of hundreds and hundreds of businesses and have done everything from sales coaching to helping people find and start franchises to, I feel like you name it, I've done it. And what I love doing, I'm a self-proclaimed business model geek. I love helping people look at the big picture and figure out how all the pieces and parts of their business work together, and also individual offers. Like how do we take all these things you've done and create something for you to sell that is super exciting and fun. So that in a nutshell is what I do. I work with super smart women like you and the women listening to this, and a few, guys who get it. So that's what I do as a business coach and a strategic thought partner.
I love that. And that's a lovely segue into, I think, how you and I met. I give credit to Savor, the success, I think was how I met you, I believe. And I think you gave a talk there, right?
Okay. I'm just going to say.
I'm frozen. You can't
I'm
hear
just going
me.
to say, you said that's a lovely segue and froze. So
okay.
Can we try that question again?
Of course.
That segue again.
So that lovely segue into how we met when you were talking about fantastic women and businesses. And I think we met at Savor the Success.
We did. Oh my gosh. Those were the days.
And I think you gave a talk, and I remember running up to you, talking to you, saying, like, wait, franchises? My sister needs your help. Like that I thought you were like the whole, I didn't get the full breadth of what you did at the time.
I had forgotten about that. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I did. I did quite a few talks at Savor, and I think franchising, just having had that background of owning a franchise and helping people find and start franchises, which was, I haven't done that for 13 years now,
right?
10 years now. I'm not sure. But yes, that actually is what started my business geekdom, is really looking at how does a business fit a person and how does a person fit a business.
And that I think segues to more of who I've seen you work with now, and less that sort of model, business plan, business structure, like the old way of doing things, right? Like you've talked a lot about there's a new way of doing things, and I think also for this audience, or the people that I work with, they're either they're kind of experts. They're one person shows, or their business is built around them and their expertise, and whether they're writers or authors or nonprofit, founders. So what does that look like for them now, Carolyn, in terms of like business? Like the old playbook is out. What are some sort of like the basic things that you say, like the foundational principles that they need to be considering as they're going from I'm an expert to I build a business around this expertise?
Yeah. What a great question. So one of the things I'm going to say is we're obviously in an election year, and I noticed in 2016, after that election, people really started, like, people were upset. And I mean, not everybody, but some people were upset. And they really, and then that paired with the Me Too movement, I think really got people going, oh no, I don't want to be a part of this. And so I noticed like this pushback, not just in my clients, but in myself as well, where it was like, this way of doing business doesn't feel right. It feels masculine and forceful and insincere and inauthentic and kind of manipulative.
And a
And
little old school, like yeah, a little old
right.
school, a little round pegs or round hole, square peg, right?
Yeah, I think we finally began to realize that we were trying to operate in a man's world, like even if you take a lot of courses for how to build your business,
Right.
there's this, it was created, a lot of the tactics were created by men for men. And that works perfectly fine for a lot of people. But there are people like me, it was no longer working for, and a lot of the people I was engaging with. And so that just was really kind of a wake up point or a wake up call where I've been doing things like I've been doing launches, filling programs, doing things really in that old school way. And it had kind of worked for me. It never really felt right, but it had worked for me. And it just like I just hit a hard stop on that after the 2016 because people weren't responding to it in the same way.
Right.
And I just couldn't live with myself doing it that way anymore. So yeah, we have, and that's just as it relates to marketing, but our businesses are built around our marketing and vice versa. Our marketing is built around our businesses.
And so, is there now a different process, or from what I understand, yours is so just generally authentic to the person, right? Like, there's no longer there's maybe your process, but there's not a playbook.
Right.
Is that how you operate when you're sort of approaching people and helping them figure this out?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I'm working with someone, they're coming to me because they're like, okay, what else is there? What's next for me? And so, but we have a hard time seeing ourselves through our own eyes, like really objectively and creatively. Sometimes we can have a lot of ideas, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we know what to do with those ideas or how to prioritize. And so one of the things I do is I work so organically. Some people might think like, is she just pulling this out of her, you know what? But I use 5 pillars of business that really are just a container, and I can kind of move around that entire container. And what I do with it, so the 5 pillars are like your business model. How are things set up to serve you and your clients? It's how are you positioned as a thought leader, which is really important for your viewers and your clients.
Exactly.
And your authors. How do you market yourself as a thought leader? How do you sell? How do you sell? So it's like what's packaged around your expertise. How is that packaged? And then how do you sell that? And then there's always mindset, and that's the 5th pillar. So, but all of this, like even though those are strategic, masculine things in a sense, it's just like we're out here forming the container. Now, what's the heart of this? What's a way for you to build and create products and services that aren't like, okay, you need to scale, you need to create a program, you need to do evergreen. You like, instead of it being like this forceful, everybody needs to scale type of thing, it doesn't always work that way for people. And I think, we can fall under the spell of, yes, I absolutely need a course so I can make money while I sleep. But not everybody's, that's just not, it doesn't work for the majority. Let's start there.
It's such a relief to hear you say that. I mean, I hope for other people who are either listening or will listen that is so refreshing. I mean, it's just so freeing to hear you say that there's not the one right way, and there's, this is the only way you can do it.
Well, and it creates a lot of tentacles and effects that really don't do us a disservice. So one is you lose time and money. Like I think everybody should try experiment with hopefully with the right things at the right time. But if somebody's like, I have to scale in this way by creating a course, for example,
Right.
then it doesn't work. And they did a whole bunch of things that didn't feel good in the process. And they're like, I'm broken. You know what? You are not broken. The idea that was projected on you that in order to build a business, you must scale and you must create courses, that's what's broken.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to break that record of projecting what you should want and what you should do and what makes you a worthy business person, and instead say, no, what makes sense for you? If it's a course, that's great, but let's do it the right way, in a way that's really true to you and compelling to the people who want it, instead of, and so I just really think there's a lot of, I just watch all these launches about course creation and I just go, okay, I've been there. I've done it. And that's only
and
one.
And it's so easy. Anybody can do it.
Of course. And you know what? You are just going to wake up to an inbox full of orders every morning.
And
it's going to be amazing.
But,
yeah, I think it's so tough for people to get out of that trap.
Yeah.
Because they don't see it. They don't see it.
Well, I had a micro version of that conversation actually with somebody that and we were talking literally about social media, and she was like, "I hate it. I don't want to do it. It's an emotional issue," and I just said, "Then why are we talking about it?" Right? I said, "You have an amazing website. You have a booming business. You know what you're doing. Let's go back to some of those fundamental business basics." And I think she was a little disappointed. And I would be curious if you have that same experience where somebody comes in and they're like, "This is what I have to do." And you sort of turn around and say to them, "Actually, no, it's not what's probably best for you." And they're like, "But wait, you were supposed to help me with this." And I said, "I can help you, but we're not going in that direction. It doesn't, you won't be happy."
Yeah. It's always a conversation. So there's enough projecting that's done on us all freaking day long and all of our lives. So I'm not going to project this is what you should do or shouldn't do. What I find very important is really understanding, if I were talking to that woman who's like, social media is just traumatic for me, I'd be like, okay, well, why is that? And what's worked for you in the past? And, what if we did social this way? And so instead of just saying no social, it'd be like, well, if it were done this way, would that be any different? And so it's a conversation.
Right.
And I really feel like one of my superpowers is asking questions and just being curious without an agenda, so that the person who I'm dealing with feels very heard. Because here's the bottom line. We have done so many things because we should do them. And then we feel really crappy about ourselves when it doesn't work, or it doesn't work as well as we wanted, or whatever. We think we're broken. And really that stuff is projected on us in the first place. And we're made to feel like that's part of this machine. I call it the XY economy. That's part of the machine of really continuing to make you feel like you're less than, or that you're never going to make it if you don't follow exactly what I do as the expert or the guru. Right. And so I think it's really important. I talk about the XO economy, which is an economy of coming at it from what is my value in what I can do and what feels true to me. And if something doesn't feel true, it means there are a million other things that you can do in lieu of that.
Right. I love that approach. Again, it just feels so. Do you see my shoulders relaxing as you talk about it that way? I'm like, oh, if everybody discussed the world that way, it would be so lovely.
Wouldn't it be?
You talked about sort of this big shift that you felt in 2016. Let's talk about the overused word pivot, right? That a lot of people had to do this spring with, pandemic, et cetera, with racial injustice and all of those cries, like our whole world feeling like it's on its head. What did that look like for you or for your clients, or what you told people and as they were, I don't know, either
So,
hiding from building
Nancy,
their
I might be
businesses?
interrupting you, but you froze. So I'm
Okay.
going to kind of run with what I think your question was. Sorry.
Perfect.
Oh, wait, you're back. You're back. Do you want to finish the
You
question?
run, and I'll redirect or freeze. It'll be fine.
I should just do this. I can't hear you. So it was really obviously an interesting time for all of us, but the clients I was working with at the time who were already clients, it was the most exciting time ever because we quickly just said, okay, what's out right now? It just, what needs to change and why? What are you hearing? So instead of like just going, panic, this is what I'm going to do because I need to make money right now, it was the most freeing, liberating time because my clients were not panicking. They were really just in this place of listening and just listening to themselves and listening to what their clients wanted or needed. And it turned out to just be like, I feel like a lot of my clients even found their voice even more strongly. So thought leadership and messaging and having an original point of view is some of the stuff I work on with one of the things I work on with my clients. And I just feel like it was like channeled. I mean,
Wow.
it was so amazing. And I really saw the good. Now, the people I wasn't working with at the time, I don't know what their experience was, but that was the experience. And we did pivot within my clients, but it just like we'd already been working on things that was trust yourself, listen to your voice,
Right.
what feels right. And then how do we apply that in a business? How do we apply that in your business? And so marrying that inner with the outer is what creating an XO economy is all about, is, rather than outside in, I'm going to tell you what to do and how successful you should be and how to get, that's outside in. Inside out is that way of like what's bubbling up, what's coming in, and how do I apply that in business to help more people.
I love that because
shoot, you froze. So I think I'm going to have to tap dance for a minute.
Okay. Am I
because
unfrozen?
I can see you, but can't hear you.
I'll keep moving.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about the XO economy.
And
this is about, okay, you're back.
Okay. Freeze. Hold that. Okay. Well, I'm going to do another segue.
Do it.
And that was one, I'm going to just say it's refreshing to hear positive stories that were coming out of this time. I've just been looking for all of those silver linings. So I'm excited to hear those stories. And I think personally myself, that was also happening. The rule book got thrown out as well. And you could try things and experiment with things and see what stuck. But one of the other things that evolved out of this also was for connectors like you and me, we couldn't see people. And you came up with this amazing, brilliant idea. So will you talk a little bit more about Refer-A-Rama?
Refer-A-Rama, yeah.
Refer-A-Rama. And, again, I think also, which leads into how connections fit into people's businesses, right?
Yeah. I mean, we obviously don't live in a bubble. And so one of the things I grew up in a household. I'm the youngest of 5. And so we always had friends coming in and out, and my parents entertained a good amount. So they had friends over for dinner parties or drinks or whatever. They always knew that if it snowed, the Smiths and the Rodebergs and the Ricos were going to ski over and have drinks. They didn't have to pick up the phone. That was just the house I grew up in. So when I moved to New York 9 some years ago, I looked for a place where I could have room to entertain. And so I got lucky with a patio apartment on the Upper West Side. And so pre-COVID, I would have parties and get-togethers on my patio all the time. And not just with friends, but with business friends and connections. So last summer, I was kind of in a funk. And so I'm just like, okay, I need to start having people over all the time. So I started hosting 5 women at a time. I would make lunch, dinner, happy hour, whatever it was, serve drinks, and I just did it all out of my own pocket. I just wanted people to gather. That was it.
Get it. I get it. I miss it. I want it.
It was so much
I love
fun.
you.
Yeah, so 3 hours. It was a 3-hour time block. We had some of the most amazing conversations. I think I posted like maybe 9 or 10 of these things. And it was really fun because I tried to do it where people didn't know each other. Like to find 5 people who don't know each other in New York sounds like, if you don't live in New York, it sounds like, well, that'd be easy. Well, it's not.
So, not in your network. Not in your network.
Exactly. And so, but it worked really well. And so when I was looking forward to doing that again this summer, and of course, pandemic, #pandemic. And so I was looking for ways, and I was inspired. 2 women I had spent a month with in Barcelona last year said, hey, there's this woman who's doing these connection things. She calls it referrals for all. And I think you would like to do this. And so I modeled after what she does, just connecting women, and I do 2 women at a time. So I sent out an individual emails to about 100 people in my network, and people who I really felt are A players. Like, you're really like working on your business, working on building your business. You have a referral mindset. And I just said, hey, I'm going to try this experiment. Do you want to join me? And then I set up my calendar where 2 people could pop in with me. And so there were 3 of us. We'd have 15-minute calls where it's boom, boom, boom. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you're looking for right now, and we'll tell you if we can help you. And I've done, I don't know how many of these sessions over the past couple of months. And I'm doing them every other month because I find that I end up spending a lot of time making the connections and following up with referrals. So, I only have limited time.
Right.
People love them. I mean, you've done a couple of them.
Well, before I froze, that was one of my questions to you beforehand was, I had to understand if you took a break or not, because it's intense. I mean, it's an intense 15 minutes. And then that kind of 24 to 48 hour period of all of the exciting ideas and people and connections. And I mean, there's a little bit of a high that goes with it. And so it makes me happy to know that you're not doing these week after week after week, and you got to take a break.
Yeah. Well, and you come in for 15 minutes and meet one person plus me. I'm doing, 4 in an hour once or twice a week. So yes, I'm finding that every other month is a good pace for me. And, but it's really been amazing, like the connections. And then even though you may not meet someone during your 15 minutes, I'm meeting with so many people. I can say, oh my gosh, you need to meet Michelle. And it's really been fun what I'm hearing from it.
Oh, I mean, it's as a participant, it's a bit amazing. And also for people like me who misses that, like real people, casual at an event where you would meet somebody. I know that scares some people to death, but that is so hugely missing in this pandemic environment. Okay. I'll keep moving. And
so I'm just going to hang out here for a second. Exactly. I really hope people are sticking with us. Okay.
I hope I'm not freezing.
You did just freeze.
Okay. All right. So I think that's a sign we should maybe be winded up.
Okay. We can do that.
Can you hear me? Am I unfrozen for a minute?
I can hear you.
All right. Before it happens again, Carolyn, will you let people know how they can best, find you, learn more about you? I know you've got something coming up in October that might be appropriate. So can I just sort of cede the floor to you to talk more about that?
So there are 2 things. One is I'm always looking for other amazing women like you. I want to meet other amazing women like you. So if you consider yourself an amazing woman, would you please just reach out to me if you're watching this or know someone? Like, I want to stay connected, because the more people who come into my orbit, I can share with other people in my orbit and vice versa. So I really want to hear from you if you're in business and want to create more connections for yourself and others. So that's number one. The other thing is, so one of the things I used to do in person was what's called a business design workshop. And I would get this amazing conference room in Chelsea, and a bunch of us would come together and we'd look at your business model and your offers and really like kind of make sure your design of your entire business made sense. And that is not possible right now. And I don't want to try to attempt that virtually. And so what I've done is I've created this 1-day virtual workshop called The Fix. And it's for the woman who's really successful, already successful. And she's like, I had this, what I thought was a no-brainer idea for an offer, but crickets. Nobody's buying it. Why is it not performing? I know it's a good offer. Why are people not buying it? And so what we're going to come to do is come together and look at, where are the blocks? Why is it not working? And where is the trapped value? Where is the hidden value that's not being communicated? And how are you marketing it? We're really just going to focus on that one offer and the things that surround it, and make sure you walk away with an action list of things to fix to make this offer like so easy for people to buy. And I really feel like that's important for us to stay relevant and visible. We need to be making offers. And so it's a really important workshop. And I've got a few spots left in that. So I'm super excited. And that is the website is carolynherfurth.com/the fix.
Okay.
No doubt.
Yeah. So awesome women who need a fix for their business. And I just can't say enough great things. It is so worth getting to know Carolyn, that run, don't walk. But now you're freezing on me, so I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna say thank you, Carolyn, for your time, for your patience. I'll put all the details below in the comments and repurpose this and share it in some other places when we check out all the technical difficulties. Thank you, Carolyn. I will see you on the interwebs.
Wonderful to see you. Thanks, Nancy.